I got here. Fish were gone.
The basket was empty.
Pretty sure. Collector. We can handle this right now. No. Good guy. So, anyway, it's just 1 minute.
Oh, Murray.
You okay? Yeah. Strong boy.
Probably shouldn't run on this.
Yeah. Murray, come here. Mur.
I mean, I enjoy your.
Murray.
You were reading the name before.
Okay.
She's moving around.
Buddy.
She stops when it's
Hey, come here. Hey. Hey.
looks good to me. What's wrong?
Oh, good.
Well, it's a little bit, you know, the game. How you.
Get him, please.
But take a seat by me.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I want to welcome you all to Temple Bethel on this beautiful Shabbat day. We are so fortunate to have you sitting here with us. We are so fortunate to have you online visiting with us as well and worshiping with us. And this beautiful day that you have brought to us, we are grateful for that. So just a few words before we begin our worship. First of all, I want everyone to take out of their pockets the most cherished thing that they have with them today, right? I want you to cherish it, I want you to honor this, and I want you to silence it. And then I want you to put it away. I'm being serious, and the reason I say that is because we want to try and leave the electronic sounds outside and have here the sounds of the human heart and the expressions of the human soul that make us worshipers together and not simply observers, because we will be worshiping together. I think regardless of one's in particular religious background, one can enter into this place of prayer and appreciate what we do. I want to make sure, too, that you each have a prayer book. It's these blue books that are called Mishkan Tefillah, a Hebrew expression that means a dwelling place of prayer. If you need one, they're on the book cart over here. Later on, when Sam will offer a Torah reading this morning, you can also take one of the larger blue books, and there are a few red ones, I think, in there too, which are the Torah commentary books. These are the smaller books slightly, and the Torah ones slightly larger, and we'll be able to offer that as well. We are in a place still with the pandemic that we are trying to indeed come back to have a congregation in person like this. Although for those people who are comfortable wearing masks, we want to respect those choices as well as the choices of people not to wear a mask. So you'll hear later on certain directions about how to be in this sanctuary space at a time when we're still cautious and respectful of everybody's wishes for how we worship and how we gather in this space. And I think we're all thankful for the fact that we are now in this place where we can move forward, return as a community of people together, and to make our experience one of humanity touching practically one another, rather than being exclusively online. No offense to the people who are joining us online this morning. But they've made their choices, or they're not able to be with us here today, and we still accept everyone here who is part of this worship community. We can be grateful for the technology that allows us to share with so many more people than are sitting here today. We can be grateful for the beautiful day that we have outside that awaits us all this week. As far as I can see, the weather is going to be really excellent this week. And we thank God for the human mind that allows us to make connections with one another and to help community. Help humanity, I should say. In fact, our service begins with a prayer of thanks on page 186 in our prayer book. We begin worship with Modeh Ani Lefanecha, a prayer thanking God. Every morning we say this prayer for the ability for us to rise and be in the world. Page 186, Modeh Ani. Modeh Ani Lefanecha, Melech Chai v'Kayam, Shehechezarta bi nishmati b'chemla, Rabba emunatecha, Rabba emunatecha. Sam, we'd like to invite you to come and join us here at the Amud, at this lectern. How are you feeling today?
Good.
Great. You know, in a moment, Sam is going to receive from his family a talit. Now, the talit is this garment that some of us are wearing this morning, and it has a lot of different components to it. And I might leave your grandparents to tell you a little bit more about it. But you know, the most important part of the talit is the tzitzit, and these are 4 sets of fringes that hang down. And our tradition tells us that when we see these fringes, that we are to then be reminded of all the obligations we have, both as Jews and as members of the human race, toward other people, toward the world as it is. And now I'd like to invite Larry and Paula Spector, some of your grandparents, to come to the bima and to offer your talit to you on this beautiful day of your becoming bar mitzvah. Yeah, definitely.
Missing talit. Oh. Baruch atah Adonai Elohim.
I think they were going to be saying something to you first, maybe. Oh, you're going to bless it? Yes. Oh, okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit.
Amen.
That's all right. I got you.
Sam, you just recited a blessing and wrapped yourself in a talit, a prayer shawl, worn upon reaching the age of 13. Wearing a talit is a tradition rooted in the Torah. It's observed in Jewish communities all around the world. The fringes, the tzitzit, on each corner of the talit remind us of 613 mitzvot, God's commandments, and we're expected to remember those commandments and follow them in our daily lives. When we selected this talit during a trip to Israel back in 2014, you were just 4 years old, about to turn 5. We could barely envision you at 13 at your bar mitzvah, and here we are, all gathered together, all those who love Sam and his family. It's such a delight to celebrate the simcha with you today. We're so happy.
Sam, I think you've been preparing for this day your whole life. You're one of the kindest, most caring, and empathetic people that I've ever known. Empathy means being able to put yourself in another person's place and try to understand how that person feels and why they feel that way. Let me give you an example. Earlier this year, you and I were having a conversation about the Yankees, which we often do, and one player in particular. And I said, well, he might be a good player, but in my opinion, he was acting like a jerk. That's my very professional opinion. And you said, no, Pipa, you don't understand. This player has had a difficult life. He's had some very hard times. And as a result, he's very unhappy, and that's why he acts the way he does. And I didn't really buy that right away. I wasn't quite ready to accept that. I felt like he's a major league ball player. He has everything you could possibly want. Why should he be unhappy? And you said, no, the things that he doesn't have are more important than the things that he does have. Remember that? That's cool. Now, how do you know that? Where did you learn that? And my answer is that you learned it from your parents, as well as all the extended family surrounding you today, all the people that have come to celebrate you, all the people who love you. They've been talking to you about empathy and responsibility since the day you were born, because that's what they believe and that's how they live. So today, as we celebrate your bar mitzvah, you're being given more responsibility to take a more active role in your community and in your own way to make the world a better place. Mazel tov, and we love you.
I invite you to turn to page 185, and my grandparents will read at the bottom of page 185.
May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love and all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, and hopes to nurture. May the door of the synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity, and may its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. Got it. Thank you.
May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be for all who enter the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life.
Please turn to page 192 for Ma Tovu.
ואני אשתחווה ואכרע אברכה לפני אדוני עושי הטוב אוהליך יעקב אוהליך יעקב משכנותיך תפילתי לך, אדוני את רצון. אלוהים ברוב חסדך, ענני באמת איש אחד. אוהליך יעקב, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך Israel. Atovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Israel.
Please turn to page 194 and read with me. Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who formed the human body with skill, creating the body's many pathways and openings. It is well known before you, throne of glory, that if one of them be opened or closed, it would be impossible to stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, who heals all flesh, working wondrously. Baruch atah Adonai, rofei kol basar, umafli la'asot. I invite you to turn to page 197. My soul came to me pure, drawn from the reservoir of the holy. All the time it remains within me. I am most thankful for its thirst, for the compassion and justice. Let my eyes behold the beauty of all creatures. Let my hands know the privilege of righteous deeds. Baruch atah Adonai, asher bayado nefesh kol chai v'ruach kol basar ish.
Amen.
We continue on page 198 with the prayers thanking God for the miracles of everyday life. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who opens the eyes of the blind.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who frees the captive.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who lifts up the fallen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who stretches the earth over the waters.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who clothes the naked.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who gives strength to the weary.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who made me in the image of God.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me free.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me a Jew.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who girds Israel with strength.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who crowns Israel with splendor.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tivanu la'asot b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, so sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage with words of Torah.
Amen.
We seekers of God, how do we find you? In good deeds and in the study of Torah. And you search for us, you find us, in the bending of the knee, in the rigor of the study, in the honesty of commerce, through a good heart, through decency, in respect, true fellowship, compassion, and love, through truth and peace, in the no that is really no, and the yes that is really yes. Baruch atah Adonai hamlomed Torah la'amo Yisrael.
Amen.
Please turn to page 206 and read with me. These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people.
But the
study of Torah encompasses them all. We continue on page 224 for the Reader's Kaddish, and I invite you to rise. Yitkara v'yitkarash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divera chirute ve'amlich malchute b'chayechon uvyomechon uchaye dechol beit Yisrael bagala bagala uvizman kariv v'imeru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ulamei amaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithalev v'yithalal shemei dekudesha brichu le'olam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma ve'imeru.
Amen.
Please turn to page 226.
Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai, lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Page 229. You are praised, who rolls out the rough raw clay of the universe into delicate vessels of light. And from nothing at all, we could perceive in a world that has turned old a shimmering new creation right before our eyes, made this moment just for us. How much of life reveals your presence? How much Torah unfolds from each new flower, from each new waves that breaks upon the sea. You are praised, who forms from the clay that cloaks our lives, the delicate vessels which contain our light. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer Hamarot.
Amen.
I invite you to turn to page 230. How deeply you have loved us, Adonai our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion. On account of our forebears whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life, be gracious to us, teaching us well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah. Enlighten our eyes with your Torah. Focus our minds on your mitzvot. Unite our hearts in love and reverence for your name. Then we will never feel shame, never deserve rebuke, and never stumble. Having trusted in your great and awesome holiness, we shall celebrate your salvation with joy. Please join me. Gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth,
And lead us upright to our land.
For you, O God, work wonders. You chose us.
Truly you drew us near to your great name, that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. Praise be you, Adonai, who chooses your people Israel in love. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava.
Page 232.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai
Please be seated. We continue on page 234. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadivarim ha'el asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam livanecha vidibarta bam bishivtecha bevetecha uvlechtecha vaderech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu litotafot bein einecha Uktavtam amizuzot beitecha uvisharecha. Please read responsively on page 235. If we can hear the words from Sinai, then love will flow from us, and we shall serve all that is holy with all our intellect and all our passion and all our life. If we can serve all that is holy, we shall be doing all that humans can to help the rains to flow, the grasses to be green, the grains to be golden like the sun, and the rivers to be filled with life once more. All the children of God shall eat, and there will be enough. But if we turn from Sinai's words and serve only what is common and profane, making gods of our own comfort or power, then the holiness of life will contract for us. Our world will grow inhospitable.
Let us therefore lace these words into our passion and our intellect, and bind them as a sign upon our hands and eyes. Let us write them in mezuzot upon our doors, and teach them to our children.
Let us honor the generations that came before us, keeping the promise for those yet to be. Leman tiskeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai litem kedoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim. Ani
Adonai Elohechem.
Please turn to page 239. Emet, there is no place where you are not. Even in the wilderness, there is your word. Emet, that pen strokes of lightning, white fire, black flame. Stir the soul's passion, guide our sacred way. True and enduring is Torah. Your truth is certain and established, now and forevermore. Like Moses, Miriam, and all Israel, we sing out and rejoice. We continue on page 240.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, Norah tehilot osef ele, Norah tehilot osef ele. Shir achar shibchu geolim, לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Yai lai 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 la 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 la. Yai lai lai la lai la 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 la. Yai lai 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 la 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 la. Yai lai 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 la 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 la. Suri Israel, Kuma be'ezrat Israel, Ufedei chinumecha, Yehuda ve'Yisrael. Go aleinu, Adonai Tzevaot Shemo, Yedosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael.
We continue on page 242 as we begin the tefillah. I invite you to rise.
Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
We continue on page 244. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Ve'Elohei Avotinu ve'Imotenu
Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor veHanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chastei Avot v'imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah.
Page 246. Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye hako ata, rav le'oshia, mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem,
Mechalkel Chaim v'chesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunatov, Lishenei afar, Michamocha Baal Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Meimid, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua.
V'ne'eman ata lehachayot hakol, Baruch ata Adonai, mechaye hakol.
Amen.
We continue on page 248.
Nikadesh et shimcha ba'olam, Kishem shemakdishim oto b'shmei marom, Kakatuv al yad nevi'echa, V'kara ze el ze ve'amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, V'lo kol haaretz yevodo. Adir, Adirenu, Adonai, Adonenu, Ma'adir shimcha b'chol haaretz. Baruch kevod Adonai Mimkomo. Echad hu Eloheinu, Hu Avinu, Hu Malkeinu, Hu Moshi'enu ve'Hu Yashmi'enu, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
To all generations we will declare your greatness, and for all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O God, shall never depart from our lips. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
Amen.
Please be seated. We continue on page 250.
ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. מקדשי שבי שבת, כולם ישבעו ויתענגו מטובך שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת. חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת.
We continue on page 252. Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot, and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness, and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai our God, grant us your holy Shabbat as heritage. May Israel, who sanctifies your name, rest on Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
Please turn to page 256.
אנחנו לך. שעתהו אדוני אלוהינו. ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו לעולם ועד. צור חיינו מגן אישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. צור חיינו מגן אישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. מודים אנחנו לך, שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו. ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו לעולם ועד. צור חיינו מגן אישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. צור חיינו מגן אישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. אתה הוא לדור ודור. אתה הוא לדור ודור.
Page 258.
שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל ישראל עמך. ברכנו יוצרנו כולנו כאחד באור פניך, כי באור פניך נתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו. שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל ישראל עמך. תורת חיים ואהבת חסד ואהבת חסד וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום. שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל ישראל עמך. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל ישראל עמך.
We oughtn't pray for what we've never known, and humanity has never known. Unbroken peace, unmixed blessing. No, better pray for pity, for indignation, discontent, the will to see and touch, the power to do good and make new. Baruch atah Adonai hamorech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We now pause for a few moments of personal prayer.
If you are still offering your own personal prayer, please continue. But we also would like to invite you to turn to page 261. It is in our tradition a reality that 99% of the offerings that we have in a worship service like this, or when we worship alone, are prayers that we offer on behalf of the community. All of our prayers, most of them I should say, are prayers where we offer solace and connection to those of us who gather with us. But we have a rare opportunity within our worship now to offer prayers for us as individuals. And so on page 261 is a prayer that I invite you to read along with me, thinking about yourself for a few moments. Each of us can think about ourselves because we have these things that we need so much of. Again, on page 261, at the middle of the page, I invite you to join one another. I need strength, humility, courage, patience. Strength to control my passions, humility to assess my own worth, courage to rise above defeats, patience to cleanse myself of imperfections, and wisdom to learn and live by our sacred teachings. Let me not be discouraged by my failings. Let me take heart from all that is good and noble in my character. Keep me from falling victim to cynicism. Teach me sincerity and enthusiasm. Endow me with perception and courage that I may serve others with compassion and love. On page 260, at the bottom of the page, Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu.
Sam, Yasher Koach, Toda Rabbah, thank you and great job in leading us in worship this morning. Your job's not over, obviously, but we really appreciate your service leadership this morning. You led us in Shacharit so beautifully, so thank you. We want to invite the community now to turn to page 362 and 363 in the prayer book. Those are facing pages, so they'll just be right there when you open up that. We now continue our morning worship with Seder Kriyat Torah, the service for the reading of Torah. Sam is not only going to lead us in worship today, but also going to offer words of Torah, both in Hebrew and in English, and his thoughts about this week's Torah portion, which we'll talk about later. In a little while, we will be bringing forth the Torah scroll to our congregation, engaging in what in Hebrew is called the Hakafah, which is the procession around the community. Now, these days, again, as I mentioned earlier, when we are in the midst of trends of somehow moving through the pandemic, we also want to be respectful of people's spaces, people who have gathered in worship around us. So before I ask you to take that very important instrument that we enjoy having in our pockets, but now I want to you leave those pockets, but now I'd like you to take your dominant hand and express your pinky up in the sky. So when the Torah passes you, normally we would want to go out and touch the Torah scroll. Sorry, Summer. We would want to go out and touch the Torah scroll. But actually, this time, we're going to ask you to sort of stay where you are, respecting the personal space of people around you, but acknowledge when the Torah passes you as you point your pinky finger in its direction. Again, our job is to be respectful of people's personal space in these days when sometimes things are a little uncertain. And we are truly appreciative of your help and your cooperation. The family is not going to pause also, by the way. They're going to just walk around the sanctuary and bring Torah down to us. Because Torah as a resource, as a history, as a set of mitzvot, as was said before by Sam's grandmother, as a set of laws, as a set of stories, that's who we are as a people, and we share it with everybody. And to help us share it now, we want to invite a few people to come to a few different places. First, we'd like to invite to the Bima to help open the ark doors are Hudson Wagner, Hadley Wagner, and Murray Diestelman. Please join us here on the Bima. And they will help open the doors, but we also want to invite people to help us undress the Sefer Torah when it's that time. We want to invite Maya Glatzer, Leah Lancaster, Judy Montigelli, Emmy Spector, and Kate Bush. Please join us also on the Bima. And to join us right in front of the little thrust here, our little Bima, we'd like to invite the following people who will participate in our ceremony of passing the Torah from one generation to the next. Here we'd like to invite Larry Spector and Paula Spector, Steve Wagner, Jean Wagner, Dwayne Boehm, Michelle McCabe, Christina Spector, Scott Spector, and of course, Sam. Join everybody as well. Mrs. Jar is going to help arrange you in the proper order for everyone to be with one another today. Okay. There's many more family members than you see before you, but know that, Sam, your family is so beautiful, and it's great that they could come and join you today, those who could. Now, for the rest of the community, we invite you to refer to the middle of page 363. And together we offer these words from the book of Devarim, from the book of Deuteronomy, as we together as a community invoke now our service for the reading of Torah. Please join one another, friends. At the middle of 363. Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the strangers in your cities, to hear, to learn, to revere Adonai your God, to observe faithfully the words of this Torah, and let their children who do not yet know it hear, that they too may learn to revere Adonai your God. We invite the community to rise.
אין כמוך אלוהים אדוני ואין כמעשיך מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור אדוני מלך אדוני מלך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד Adonai oz le'amo yitain Adonai yivarech et amo b'shalom.
Sam, Shabbat Shalom. We are privileged to be here with you today. In a moment, your family is to pass you physically this scroll of the Torah. Now, you know this is just a symbolic thing that we do, but it's a symbol of something that we have been doing literally for 2,500 and more years. We've been taking the words of Torah and teaching it from generation to generation. And so rabbis have taught their disciples, parents have taught their children, teachers have taught their students. And we, for 2,500 years at least, have been teaching Torah to future generations until this very moment when on this Shabbat morning, you become bar mitzvah, you receive the Torah into your arms. At this time, we ask you to cherish the Torah. We ask you to cherish it. We ask you to treasure it. We ask you to continue to make it part of your life, even as you have been studying for this moment in your life. Our tradition says, and the rabbis tell us, that everything can be found in the Torah, and all we need are the tools for studying. And we can find solutions to today's problems. We can find morals about how to live, principles and values to help make the world a better place, to help improve human relationships. And that's what we are all here about to do. And that's why we are so proud to offer you this day, on behalf of your family who is going to pass this to you now, the responsibility for continuing passing Torah from generation to generation.
דור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור we protect this chain. From generation to generation. לדור ודור these lips will praise your name. לדור ודור these lips will praise your name.
We continue on page 366.
Shema
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadlul Adonai iti uneromima Shemo yachdav. Lecha Adonai hagedula ve'hagevura ve'hatiferet ve'hanetzach ve'hahod ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz Lecha Adonai הממלכה והבינה עשה לכל ראש. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו Behar Kocho. Romemu, 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 Adonai Eloheinu. Romemu, 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 Adonai Eloheinu. Ve'ishtachavu lehar kocho, ve'ashtachavu lehar kocho, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Romemu, Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu.
As the Torah rests, the congregation may be seated. Oh, there it is. Okay. It's better today. It's better today. But we'll deal with that. Okay. Shabbat Shalom. Today's Torah portion is Noach. It is the second parashah, the second portion of the book of Genesis. And we're so into the story of creation that I do have to ask Sam a question. This was an unexpected quiz. So, where is baseball mentioned in the Torah? Do you know? In the beginning, right? I wait for that every year. So, I know that Sam is a baseball player, and sadly my team is not in the World Series, but that doesn't matter. I know that people here are interested in those things. But anyway, I'm going to let Sam really, for now, offer his Devar Torah. So he will begin to orient you as to the story of this parashah. But just briefly, in this parashah, in this week's Torah portion, we have the continuing story of creation, the evolution from Noah, who was introduced sort of last week, Noach, that seafaring, shipbuilding prophet of our people who later on serves as maybe a way to alert the people of the world that disaster is coming, who then becomes an alcoholic in his later parts of his life. And we have the Tower of Babel at the very end of the parashah. Sam will go into much more detail about that. If you would like to follow along today's Torah portion, I want to invite you to take a Plaut Torah commentary. They're the larger blue books, that is, and with the on the bottom shelf of each side of our book rack over here. If you have a book with you, it's on page, today's Torah reading begins on page 60 of the Plaut Chumash, of the Plaut commentary. And those who are joining us online, if you click on the video link there, that link that says Sefaria.org, it will take you to Sefaria.org, a wonderful website that has thousands of pages of rabbinic Jewish sacred text and commentaries, dictionaries. It's a wonderful resource. Everybody should be getting Sefaria if you are studying Jewish texts. And even if not, it's really something really incredible to see. And we have taken Sam's Torah portion and we have excerpted it there. So just click on that link and you'll find the three kriot, the three little portions that Sam will be offering today. So, Sam, I'd like to invite you to come to the Torah and find your place. We're going to be reading specifically today from chapter 8 of the book of Genesis, beginning at verse number 7. Chapter 8, verse 7, and again it's on page 60 in the Plaut commentary. For the first aliyah to the Torah, we are privileged to call your aunt, 3 of your aunts, and an uncle. We call to the Torah Michelle Frankel, Aryeh Frankel, Judy Volum, and Becky McDonald.
אקרא לעמוד מיכל בת פייבל ומלכה, ואריה בן צבי ובלנקה, ויהודית בת ישראל וסלבה, ורבקה בת יהודית לעלייה לתורה.
Sam, hold this for just a second for me. Thanks. You're welcome. Of course. Yeah, get really close to the microphone as well. I'll be hurt. Watch your stepping back. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Baruch Adonai HaMevoach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Mevoach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher בחר בנו מכל העמים, ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
Vaishalach et ha'orev, vayetze yatso, vashov, ad yavosh et hamayim me'al haaretz. Vaishalach et hayona mito lirot hakalu hamayim Me'al panei ha'adamah. V'lo matzah hayona manoach l'chaf raglah. V'tashov elav el hateva ki ma'im al panei kol ha'aretz. Vayishlach yado vayikacheha vayavei ota elav el hateva.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu torat emet, b'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. You can offer some love if you like. For the second Aliyah to the Torah, we call, Sam, your parents to the Torah, Scott Spector and Christina Spector.
אקרא לעמוד שמואל צבי בן פרוצנדר ואלחנן ורות לעלייה לתורה.
Baruch Adonai Hamborah, Baruch Adonai Hamborah Leolam Vayed, Baruch Adonai Hamborah Leolam Vayed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim, V'natan Lanu Et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayachel od shivat yamim acherim. Vayosef shalach et hayonah min hateva. Vatavo elav hayonah le'et erev. V'chine ala zayit taraf b'fiha. Vayeda Noach ki kalu hamayim me'al haaretz. Vayachel od shivat yamim acherim. Vayshalach et hayonah v'lo yasvashu v'elav od. Vayahi be'achat v'sheish me'ot Shana Barishon Be'echad Lachodesh Charvu Hamayim Me'al Haaretz Vayasar Noach Et Michsei Hateva Vayar V'chine Charvu Pnei Ha'adamah.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher natan lanu Torah emet, V'hayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. And now, Sam, we call you to the Torah, coming to the Torah today as a bar mitzvah, the first time you've had an aliyah to the Torah in your life. We wish you mazal tov, and we wish you hatzlacha on this day when we call you, Sam Ethan Spector, to the Torah.
נא לעמוד, נא לעמוד, נא לעמוד, ישראל איתן מבית שמואל צבי ורות, כבר מצווה לעלייה לתורה.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Natan Lanu et Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim, V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Uvachodesh hasheni, b'shiv'a ve'esrim, yom lachodesh yavsha ha'aretz. Vayedaber Elohim el Noach lemor, say min hateva ata ve'ishtecha, uvanecha unshevanecha itach, kol hachaya asher itcha, mikol basar, ba'of uba'bema, uvchol havromes al haaretz haitzei itach v'shartu va'aretz ufaru v'ravu al haaretz. Vayese Noach uvanav ve'ishto unshevanav ito. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Stay here for a second. Would you stay here for a second? Just hold this right here. Just make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Good. All right. In the presence of the Sefer Torah, in the presence of this sacred community, we now offer a prayer of healing for people whom we know about and perhaps for those we don't know about who are in need of healing on this day. Every one of us, or I'm guessing almost every one of us, knows of someone who has been hospitalized, who has been a patient, who may be a victim of illness, COVID even perhaps, and other maladies. And we know that our presence has been a help to them. And we also know by science, this is sort of intuitive maybe, but people who are ill, when they know that a community such as ours has been praying on their behalf, that allows them to heal much better because that raises their level of confidence, that raises their level of connection back to the human family, and allows them to use their healing abilities which God has implanted within us all. So at this point, we offer prayers of healing for the more than 80 or so people who are on our Temple Bethel healing list as a matter of course, and what we hear about during the week as it progresses. We also think about 3 particular people who are members of the Spector and family and friendship circle. We think about Monica Gurney Kempen, Jerome Fritsch, and Trish Langlois, who are in need of a healing prayer. And there are people sitting in our congregation today who know of people as well who need some healing in their lives. And so if you would like to offer a name of someone whom you are thinking about right now, someone who needs healing and who would benefit from the prayers of this community, we'd like to invite you to offer their names now as individuals sitting in this community. We want to invite you to turn now to page 371. At the middle of 371, there's an indented paragraph that is our congregation's aspiration for healing. Join one another in Misha Berach, 371.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Yisheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
And now to help us dress the Sefer Torah, we invite these individuals to the bima. We'd like to have Preston Glatzer, Vince Lancaster, Theo Montigelli, and Jenny Glatzer. Please join us here on the bima as we dress the Sefer Torah, and we ask and we invite the congregation to rise. Page 370 is where we are in the worship.
Zot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Ya la la lai lai lai. Ya la la lai lai lai. Ya la lai 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 lai. Ya la lai lai lai. Ya la la lai lai lai. Ya la la lai lai lai. Ya la lai 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 lai. Ya la lai lai lai. Ya la lai 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 lai. Ya la lai 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 lai. Ya la lai 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 lai. Ya la lai lai lai. Ya la lai 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 lai. Ya la lai 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 lai. Ya la lai 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 lai. Ya la la lai lai lai. Ya la la lai lai lai. Ya la lai 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 lai.
The congregation may be seated. Great job, congregation. No one congratulates the congregation, but I think this is a great congregation. They always are. So, I mentioned earlier that Sam is going to share some thoughts of his about this week's Torah portion. So now we would like to invite Sam to come to the Amud and to continue sharing his thoughts about this Torah portion as he becomes Bar Mitzvah.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
When I got my Torah portion, I was excited. My portion, Noach, was probably my favorite story to hear as a kid. The exciting and adventurous stories of Noah, his wife, and the animals on the ark. It was great knowing that my Torah portion would be about a story I had heard so many times as a young kid. But the portion went a lot deeper than elephants, rhinos, and sheep. The world was in a very violent time when the story first started. God didn't like this violence and decided that they wanted to wipe out all of living creatures on earth. They wanted to start fresh, clean slate, as my mom likes to say. They told Noah to build an ark out of gopher wood, 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Then God told Noah of their plans to flood the earth until the only living things were the creatures in the ark. God tells Noah to find a male and female of every type of bird, beast, and creeping thing and put it into the ark. Noah was 600 years old when the flood filled up the earth, and after just a week's time, the earth was completely submerged. Some 150 days later, God remembers about Noah and all the animals and beasts. So God decides to stop the rain. 40 days later, God opens one of the ark's windows and lets a dove out. The dove came back as it could not find any dry land. So a week later, Noah sends the dove out again, and this time the dove comes back with an olive tree in its branch. That let Noah know that the water had eased off from the earth. He sent the dove out a week later, but the dove didn't come back because it now lived on dry earth. Then in Noah's 601st year, the earth dried off. After reading my portion with the rabbi and my parents, I got to understand the portion a lot more than I thought I would. It really wasn't how simple I thought it was all going to be. But what interested me the most was how it kind of connected into my real life experiences. When God just kind of showed up and told Noah that there would be a flood to wipe out the earth, Noah didn't ask questions and led the animals onto the ark as he was told. It kind of reminded me of COVID in a way. On some random day in March, we were all told to go into our houses, wear masks, and stay 6 feet apart. The house was our ark in a way, protecting us. We asked questions for sure, but we did as we were told. We waited for almost a year to go outside again without masks or social distancing. We also tried our best to do stuff while in quarantine. For instance, my Little League had a season where there were 2 sets of bases, not allowing players and coaches in the dugouts, no snack shacks after the game, and the umpire had to be behind the pitcher's mound. And let me say, that led to some pretty wild calls. But after a while, we began to get used to wearing masks. I went an entire school year wearing masks inside and outside. But we all adapted and learned from these hard times. Then, after an even longer time, things started to go back to normal. Nothing is completely the same after COVID, though. We still have to quarantine if someone close to you gets COVID. But I feel like the end of COVID will never happen. It's just like the world will never be the same after Noah and the animals got back on the ground. It was also just so similar. I thought of this idea as soon as I finished reading the English part of my portion with my parents and the rabbi. I feel this really connects to my portion and to the real world as well. There's a lot to take away from this portion. There are so many lessons to be taught and stories to be told. But I think the most important part is to not give up. Noah shows a lot of perseverance in the portion. Noah does what God tells him to do without being asked. He builds an ark without wood, without hammers or nails or chainsaws or anything. He did it without asking questions. He just did it. And he almost single-handedly saved all species from getting wiped off the earth, too. I think it is very important to do what you are commanded to do, even if it is an extremely hard task. Noah was a great leader, and he did the right thing without being told twice. A Mitzvah project is a great tradition at our synagogue to help organizations get supplies and money that they need to help other people. For my Mitzvah project, I chose to help raise money for kids with disabilities, play baseball at my local Little League. I volunteered last season and had a blast helping kids with disabilities of all ages play baseball. I enjoyed it so much that I decided to help raise money for equipment and scholarships. I really love the game of baseball, and I was so happy to help out so that even more kids could play it. I look forward to every Saturday morning, every single week in late summer. I was so happy to be able to raise money for the league and volunteer. It was a really special opportunity to help out, and I truly loved every minute of it. Baseball is such a great game with many life lessons in it, and I feel that is why it's such a great game to teach, watch, and play. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Every single one of you means a lot to me and has helped me get to this spot. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for helping me teach and grow. Thank you for helping me along the struggles, the success, and most of all, the learning experiences. Thank you for coming to every one of my sporting events and cheering me on as loud as you can, even if it was pouring or freezing cold outside. Thank you for keeping me and Emmy out of trouble. Emmy, thank you for being my sister. I know I'm not the easiest to deal with sometimes, but even when I am, you are an even better sister. Thank you for coming to my games, to my practices. Thank you for being a great sister and always helping in any way you can. You make me so proud. Thank you to my grandparents, who always give me the best gifts and make me laugh. Thank you, Eitan, for my tutor, for helping me learn my portion. It means a ton to me that all of you are here with me to celebrate. Thank you all so much. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. We now would like to invite Scott and Christina to offer their words, not exactly in response, but maybe into what you offered, Sam. So hold tight.
I had some last-minute edits, so I got to work off my phone, if that's okay. Sam, congratulations on a wonderful job leading the service and reading Torah for all of us. It was beautiful. We are so proud of how you dedicated yourself to learning your portion and preparing your speech. In between school, baseball, flag football, tutoring, volunteering, baseball, regular school, Hebrew school, and baseball, you prioritize learning and mastering your portion with only a small amount of complaining. You advocated for yourself and requested extra sessions with Eitan to make sure you were ready, and asked proactively to set up times to meet with the rabbi to discuss your Devar Torah. Your preparation is emblematic of who you are, someone who gives 110% of everything that you do.
Sam, please take a moment and look around and see all of these people from all over the country, from the East Coast to the West Coast, from all ends of Wisconsin to just down the street, who have traveled near and far to be with us today. Many of the people here have never been to a bar mitzvah before, and it is because you wanted it to be as inclusive as possible, and you created such a loving and caring community of people who are with us today or participating virtually. Throughout this process, you have embraced your responsibility as a Jew to help educate and teach others about our religion and our history. But that's just who you are. It reminds me of when you were in 4th grade, and I got a call from school, from the social worker, that there was going to be a meeting of a Jewish affinity group right around the holiday season. I asked which amazing staff member or educator had set this up for you kids, and was impressed to hear that the idea actually came directly from you. You felt that it was a hard time of year for Jewish kids, and you wanted to create a safe place for you and your peers to talk about your feelings and seek support. We couldn't believe it. Not only could you recognize your own feelings, but you were able to step in others' shoes and seek the support of adults to create an opportunity for others, all at age 9. Your dad and I, and all of us here, are so proud of you and your accomplishments in life. And as a mom, I could not be more proud.
Sam, as you know, you were named for your Grandpa Sidney. Grandpa Sidney was a kind person with a big heart. He was quick to provide for people in need, even those he barely knew. He strove to make a difference in people's lives through teaching, through charity and tzedakah, and through love. I see so many of those traits in you, Sam. You have always been a true leader, both on and off the field. Your love of sports doesn't come from your love to compete and to win, although you certainly enjoy those things too. Your love of sport is because it gives you the chance to build camaraderie and friendship. You have a tremendous heart, always looking to help others and put others before yourself. You don't just say the words, you live them and demonstrate the values of inclusivity in your daily life. Throughout the years, your teachers have always said that they can count on you to help lift up other students when they are down and provide a shoulder for them to rely on. You embody what we've always talked about, that words are important, but what really matters are your actions. Excuse me. I'm often reminded of a baseball game a couple of years ago. It was the playoffs, and you were catching. It was the last inning, and your team was winning because because of a hit you had the last inning. And the last batter up, the other team was up. He struck out, and your entire team ran out to celebrate. There was a pile of players on the pitcher's mound celebrating, but not you. While your teammates were celebrating a hard-fought victory, you put your arm around Thanks. You put your arm around the shoulder of the batter who had struck out, who was upset that he made the last out, and walked him back to his teammates. This boy wasn't a friend of yours. He wasn't a teammate. He wasn't a classmate. He was simply someone in need of a shoulder and some compassion. You were always the first out of the dugout to lift up your teammates after they make an out or to celebrate with them when they get a hit. Sometimes when you get yelled at by an umpire for it too. This, Sam, is what leaders do. This is what makes you so special.
Sam, your compassion and your heart will always define you in this world. Last year, instead of playing fall ball, you decided to volunteer at Challenger, the league set up for kids with disabilities. This made complete sense, given all that we've heard about you in school and what we see in the community with your friends. You want to make sure everyone is included. You just want to help others enjoy that shared love of baseball. I know we tell you this all the time, but your heart and your brain are the most important parts of you. Know that if you ever need help, you have countless others in this amazing community here to support you. You can always rely on your Jewish community and on your relationship with God. As you begin your journey into adulthood today, it is that characteristic, the leadership, the compassion, the kindness that you show each day, the way you lead your life and inspire others to join, that will set you apart and allow you to succeed in whatever life throws at you. Whether it is to study sports product design at the University of Oregon, or to be the most amazing gym teacher in the whole wide world, or whatever you decide you want to pursue. And we will be cheering you on every step of the way. We are so blessed to have a front row seat as your parents.
Sam, I look at you and think how proud Grandpa Sidney and all your family are to look at you and see the man that you are becoming. How proud we all are of you. We know that we put a lot of weight on your shoulders and pressure on you. And we do that because we know you can handle it. You take it all in stride. You constantly find ways to amaze us. To all of you, all of our friends and family, the Temple Bethel community, thank you for helping shape Sam into the kind of genuine person he is today. Sam, we are so proud of the person that you have become. We love you so much, and we cannot wait to see what you do next.
Already leading, huh? Telling us what's next. Oh, Sam. I'm reflecting here as the director of lifelong learning for the last 7 years that I met you probably when you were in 4K or kindergarten. And I remember that story in 4th grade of you leading the Jewish Affinity group, and I said, this kid's going somewhere, and we hope that you are a leader for us too. As we're a community that will support you, we're looking at you to support us too going forward. So a couple things is I invite Karen Horler from our Board of Trustees up to offer a couple words as she's making her way. There's a couple things. You are used to being, again, that leader, and you're the first of your cohort to become bar mitzvah this school year. And so something that your 7th grade class has put together is offering each other a gift. I believe you chose this gift at some point, but everyone in the 7th grade got together to buy each other gifts. And the leftover, or the money that is going to be left over, will be going to a charity of your choice. So that's just another example of how you all are making a big difference in our lives. So thank you so much. Karen.
Congratulations, Sam. You really knocked it out of the park today. As a Temple Board member and a fellow 7th grade parent, I'm so pleased to be here to congratulate you today on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the members of Temple Bethel, as well as its sisterhood and men's club and our senior youth group MADY, which stands for Madtown Temple Youth. Congratulations. We have several gifts for you today. The first is a MADY water bottle. You get to join MADY in January of your 8th grade year, and they can't wait to get to know you. They want you to remember them. And since 8th grade feels like a long way away, they want you to give this special water bottle to remember them. The members of MUDDY, our junior youth group, welcome you to join them in a place where you can socialize with other Jewish youth now, if you haven't already done so. They have all kinds of fun events like movie night on the Temple Terrace and bubble soccer and all kinds of fun things. The other gifts I have for you today are a mezuzah for the doorpost of your choice and a wonderful new book called Text Messages, describing for teens what we can today learn from each Torah portion in the Jewish calendar. When you need the guidance of Torah, this book will be there for you. Further, there's a gift certificate worth $250 toward a high school trip to Israel with NIFTY, the Reformed Jewish Youth Movement organization. So, most importantly, this is your certificate marking this occasion of your becoming a bar mitzvah here at Temple Bethel. The certificate says the following: in becoming a bar mitzvah, Samuel Spector has accepted the privileges and responsibilities of being a Jew, lifelong Torah study and the keeping of mitzvot, Shabbat, holiday, and life cycle observances, participation in the life of the synagogue, the Jewish community and Israel, and dedication to Tikkun Olam, the perfection of the world. We hope these gifts will be part of your continued Jewish life, and we wish you all the best in the future. Thank you. Mazel tov.
Stay here. Yeah. Wonderful to share the Bima with you today. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciated when you said that when you read the story of Noah from the Torah, that everything wasn't as you remembered it, or there was more, it was a deeper story. So I want to share with you two other aspects of the story that are a little deeper than you might recall, or than you might have learned about earlier on in life. One is the fact that, remember, God wanted to destroy the world because humanity was messing things up. And who created humanity?
God.
So remember, yes. So remember that even God can make mistakes. Even God, can say, well. Now, we can argue about the fact as to whether God's remedy for taking care of the world was the right remedy. Because God tried to convince Noah that in the Midrash, in the stories of our people, it says that it took Noah 120 years to build the ark. And during that 120-year period, Noah was supposed to be warning people. Stop, don't do what you're doing. Stop sinning. Make the world a better place. Now, Noah didn't do that. Noah just built the ark. And he hoped that people would notice. So Noah wasn't really, into saving the world. And Noah really wasn't into the empathy frame of mind that I hear people talk about you. Noah really didn't understand, I don't think, what was happening in the world. So those are a couple of aspects I would want to share with you. Again, those are aspects that the rabbis have written about in tradition, which you can argue against, and you can argue in favor or against as you like. But the other thing that I did want to share with you, and why what your parents said and what your grandparents offered and what I've spoken to other people about you really strikes me as so important. In your Torah portion today, the expression is used, God remembered Noah, or God remembered the ark, or God remembered the animals that were on the ark. And you might say to yourself, did God forget them and then remember them? Were they so down on God's checklist that they escaped God's attention? And we're not sure about the answer to that question. We can have a good discussion about that later. But the issue is one of God taking note, because I'm going to presume that God didn't forget. I'm going to presume that God knew, and that expression is just a human expression that the author of Torah, or the authors of Torah, gave us to understand. That God said, now it's time for me to pay attention. So God chose the moment when God needed to pay attention. God must have known that at a particular time, now God needed to say, I need to attend to the ark and everything and everybody who is on the ark. And so I want to draw that to you. You knew when, for example, you needed to go soothe the ego of that batter who struck out. You know when it's time to help your sister with things that are happening in the house. You know when it's time to call the rabbi, and I really want to study this Torah portion, and that's not me, that's just you, your expression of desiring to be involved, of desiring to help yourself. But I think that your intuition about knowing the right moment when to reach out is such an important skill. And although as a person who's growing and learning so much about the world, a lot will distract you. And one of the charges that I wanted to offer you today is to say, also continue to nurture that talent you have of knowing the right moment to reach out and to offer your empathy, your empathic sense to someone who needs it. And it's going to be a family member or a friend, or it's going to be someone whom you just observe. You're going to know when that right moment is. So among all the other things you bring with you into this next section of your life, keep that close by, because that will serve you so well in life, and it will teach others to do the same as well. That and everything. We just wish you mazel tov, and it's a privilege to be here. Lest I say the otherwise, but people should know that I've been with Sam and Sam's family from the time of your birth. So it's been a privilege of mine to be your rabbi from that time, and it's wonderful to be on the bima with you. I have some private words to share with you, so come over to the ark with me for a few moments.
While they do that, a meditation for all of us, for the blessing of being able to pass Torah down to a young person in our community, and then receive Torah, receive some wisdom from them, to turn that Torah again and again and again, and keep that cycle continuing on and on. Much wisdom can we learn from our teachers. More can we learn from our friends, from our students, we can learn the most of all. Harbe lamadati merabotai, umechaverai yoter merabotai, umitalmidai, yoter mikulan, yoter mikulan. Turn it and turn it and turn it. Turn it and turn it around. Everything is in it. Everything is in it. Turn it and turn it around. Turn it and turn it and turn it. Turn it and turn it around. Everything is in it. Everything is in it. Turn it and turn it and turn it around.
Sam, face the congregation. There you go. Cantor Jacob and I would like to now offer you the priestly benediction of our people, blessing you and sending you off on this next part of life.
Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and always watch over you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha vichuneka.
May God shine down from heaven the light of compassion and mercy upon you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha, v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God always point the light of heaven in your direction so that you receive in your heart and your home the greatest gift that anyone can receive, and that is the gift of peace. And we all say, Amen. We now invite the congregation to refer back to the prayer book. Turn to page 374. Our worship continues as we return the Sefer Torah to the Ark, and we head toward the conclusion of our worship today. Again, page 374, we invite the congregation to rise.
Yehalelu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav shemo levado. Hodo al eretz v'shamayim, vayarem keren le'amo, tehila lechol chasidav, libnei Israel am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Please read with me on page 375. When
Torah entered the world, freedom entered it. The whole Torah exists only to establish peace. Its highest teaching is love and kindness. What is hateful to you, do not do to any person. That is the whole Torah. All the rest is commentary. Go and learn it. Those who study Torah are the true guardians of civilization, honoring one another, doing acts of kindness, and making peace. These are our highest duties. But the study of Torah is equal to them all because it leads to them all. Let us learn in order to teach. Let us learn in order to do.
Ki lekach tov natati lahem torati al ta'azovu. Eitz chaim hi hamachazikim ba v'tomcheha perushat teracheha darchei Noah v'chol netivoteha shalom. Ashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva chadesh chadesh yameinu chadesh yameinu kekeder.
We now invite the congregation to turn to page 586. We continue with Aleinu, page 586 at the top of the page.
Be'ach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breishit, shehu noteh shamayim ve'yosed aretz, umoshav yikaro, bashamayim mima'al, ushchinat uzo begovei meromim, hu Eloheinu ein od. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
The congregation may be seated.
And we will be continuing on page 591.
May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved, each of us, for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the land between the seas, and light up the universe with joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may the memory of the righteous always be a blessing. At this moment in our worship, we pause to remember those who have gone from this world, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we remember what it means to be a member of the human family and what memory means to each of us as we remember those who came before us and whose examples still inspire us. We pause to remember people who died recently in the last 30 days and connected to our community. We remember those who observe a yahrzeit at this time, that is the anniversary of their passing. We'll remember members of Sam's family who also are deep in their hearts and inspire them, and other people whom we recall on this day because they help us. But I'm reading now on page 592 as we prepare for these prayers of memory. Page 592. The poet has written, "When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die. People do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away." At this sacred moment, we call to mind these individuals whom we remember. One person dying in the last 30 days connected to our community, we remember Sandy Corbin, sister-in-law of Stuart Monshine and Ruth Frawley. And these are those whose yahrzeit occur at this time, the anniversary of their passing. We remember Elaine Melnick-Bongar, Julia Bove, Mary Center, Charles H. Charnowitz, Robert S. Chasen, Anthony DiTullio, Mortimer Epstein, Barbara Juster Espenson, Jean E. Fine, Mary Duville Frawley, Mary Gold, Danielle Gorin, Esther Halperin, Harriet Klein Starkey, Craig M. Lamb, Harry Michaels, Johann Peidelstein, Dorothy Silver Prusak, Dorothy Reisman, Dora Rich, Howard Scheibel, Burr Dean Schindler, Sidney I. Siegel, Sally Silverberg Jacobs, Max H. Spahn, Herb Starkey, Florence Wiseman, Mia Waltz, and Lawrence A. Weinstein, someone after whom our community court is named. And Sam, today we are remembering members of your family as well. We are remembering Sidney and Sylvia Spector, Phil and Molly Kiff, Jules Wagner and Betty Wagner, Pat McCabe, and Connie Krischer of blessed memory. There may be other members, however, also of this worship community who are remembering someone now, someone dear, and if you would like to add their name to our Kaddish list, we invite you to do so. Are there other people we should be remembering today? Zichronam, I'm sorry, I didn't want to stop anybody. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be blessings in our hearts and the hearts and minds of all those who knew and loved them. Testifying to the faith that binds the generations of humanity together, we now invite the community to turn in the prayer book to page 598, and we rise as one community to offer the words of the mourner's Kaddish. The Kaddish is a prayer of praise of God, whom we praise because God allows us to share time with our loved ones, and God allows us to have someone put their arms about us when we remember that loved one and help to comfort us. At the top of 598, we join one another. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach idute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv, imru amen, Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei dekudsha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imeru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru. Amen. May God send peace to those who mourn and comfort those who remember at this time, and we say amen. Please be seated. Friends, in a few moments we will be concluding our worship, and when we do, we will be asking you to stay here for just a few moments, because at the end of the service we have blessings of thanks of God for the fruit of the vine and blessings for bread. And after the blessings, we also have challah rolls, I see, and also juice out there for people to partake in when you leave the sanctuary. But stay here for a little while because there'll be a few other things happening which we'll tell you about. But first, let me offer just words of, first of all, Mazal Tov to Sam and Sam's family and friends who are here today. Sam, thank you for sharing your day with us. We are so appreciative of your being here. We'd like to thank Debbie, Mark, Kayla, and Elijah Blitz, who were our greeters and ushers here this morning. Thanks to Summer Koff, who is running tech with us today. Thank you to Stan and Carol Schrager, who is offering Kiddush with us in just a little while. Did I pronounce that right, Schrager? Yes? Okay, thank you. Just a few other announcements. First of all, COVID contact tracing. As I mentioned before, we are conscious of our closeness with one another. And if you contract COVID within 5 days of your being here at Temple Bethel, we request, please, that you let us know. You can email or you can call in and speak to our executive director or someone in our office to let us know. And then we will call anyone who is here today who signed in on the contact tracing form that indeed someone was here in the sanctuary. Of course, that remains private information as to who that was. But we want to let people know that they could have had an exposure. So if you'd like to get a call like that, if someone informs us, please place your name on the contact tracing sheet, which is out on one of the round tables in the foyer of our sanctuary. And please be sure also that in places where you think you need to, please be sure to wear a mask. We encourage mask wearing. We encourage, of course, vaccinations and boosters as one is eligible for those things. Next Shabbat, we will worship as a community at 6 p.m. in the evening. Sorry, that was redundant. We will worship together at 6 o'clock in the evening. But at 3 o'clock, if you know any first graders, remind them that at 3 o'clock next Friday afternoon, there's time for Shabbat fun with us. So please ask them to come here at 3 p.m., and they're going to have some good times, I guess, Mrs. Jar, right? So please be sure to come to that. Next Shabbat morning, there will be Torah study, as there is every week. Nicole Jar, our Director of Lifelong Learning, will be our Torah teacher next Shabbat morning. And next Saturday evening at 5 o'clock, there will be trivia night. Please register online. A few brief announcements. There is Foodorama. How could you forget Foodorama? That's on Election Day. It's on November 8th. So Sisterhood is hosting again Foodorama this year. We're not quite opening up our cafeteria. That we hope will come next year. But you can come by and pick up orders that you have made. You have to make orders by the close of business on Monday, or by the end of the day Monday. So while you're saying goodbye to maybe some trick-or-treaters, you also say, oh my God, food. Foodorama. I have to call and make an order to Foodorama. So by the end of the day, Monday is when your orders are due for Foodorama, which is again on November 8th. And dare I say also, please remember to vote. I would never stand here to tell you whom to vote for, but it's important that each of us participates in the democracy that is our nation. And so please vote on November 8th, those who are eligible, and those who are ready to do that. Please make sure you do that. Any other announcements we need to make? Okay. So we invite the community to turn to page 643 as, oh, I'm sorry, there's one other thing. My apologies. I want to invite Emma Spector, Hattie Wagner, Judy Montigelli, Maya Glatzer, and Leah Lancaster to sort of join one another somewhere. Where is the candy? Under Hattie's seat. Okay. So we're going to do something at the very end of our service, and you'll know when the time is because you'll see me do something like this. So right now we are passing, these wonderful folks are passing out to you pieces of candy. They're soft candy. And we'd like you to take one. When it comes by you, take one. At the very end of the service, we invite you to shower Sam with sweetness. That means like an underhand toss, right? An underhand toss. Overhand is not the dynamic we'd like to have in our congregation. If you have like goggles, you may want to use them or something. We haven't had an accident in 5,783 years, so we don't want to start. So those in the back have a challenge. If you can throw really far underhand, that would be great. But that is right. That's where all the friends are from the baseball team. Friends, I want to tell you, there's a very important second part to this ritual that people need to hear. It's really important. After all of these wonderful soft candies have showered Sam with goodness and love, then we invite all the young people, and that's always a self-definition in our congregation, we invite all the young people to come and collect up all that candy. And if you have a good heart, if you have a good neshama, a good soul, when you get all that candy, you young people, is to repass it out, redistribute it to people who might like a taste of the sweetness that we offer Sam today. So that's the challenge, is to come and collect it up and then offer it back out to people. So you'll know when to do that. I'll make a big motion like that, and we will have the ability to shower Sam with sweetness.
So on page 643, something that I, in addition to planning various other parts of the service and picking certain readings that we offer during our worship, our young people, our B'nai Mitzvah, also help me pick some of the music that we offer. And so this is one that Sam helped me pick, that Gesher Tsar Ma'od, that all the world is a narrow bridge, and the most important thing is not to be afraid, to not give in to fear. Kol ha'olam kulo, Gesher Tsar Me'od, Gesher Tsar Me'od, Gesher Tsar Me'od, Kol ha'olam kulo, Gesher Tsar Me'od, Gesher Tsar Me'od. Ve'ha'ikar, ve'ha'ikar, lo lepachet, lo lepachet la. Ve'ha'ikar, ve'ha'ikar, ישר צר מאוד, ישר צר מאוד, ישר צר מאוד. כל העולם כולו ישר צר מאוד, ישר צר מאוד. והעיקר, והעיקר לא לפחד, לא לפחד כלל. והעיקר, והעיקר לא לפחד כלל. יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 לי
We want to invite the community now to turn in the prayer book to page 604. Page 604 for text of Vishamru, and then Kiddush and Motzi is to follow. So we also want to invite the congregation to rise. Page 604.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. על כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת ויקדשהו ספרי.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, bari pri agafan.
Amen. And on page 606 is the text for Motzi, for those who would like it. You do. Okay, go for it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. B'teavon. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Mazel tov, mazel tov, simon tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simon tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simon tov. Yeheilanu, 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 ulecho Yisrael. Yeheilanu, Yeheilanu, ulecho Yisrael. Yeheilanu, Yeheilanu, ulecho Yisrael. Yeheilanu, Yeheilanu, ulecho Yisrael.
Remember, there's challah and juice for everybody, so please have a wonderful afternoon. Shabbat Shalom. Please join us out there for Kiddush and Motz.